In this world, angels live among us. Many great invincible beings of immeasurable power, a bridge between us and the gods. These creatures are not as you might imagine them. While some are human-like in their appearance, most are alien. A sitting mountain, a giant boar, a hovering sphere. Each of the angels provides a powerful boon to the surrounding area and its inhabitants. They do not speak to us. They do not move. We built our world around them. They shaped our cultures. We rely on them. Until something dark came along. Now, one by one, the angels have been slain. The people of the lands around them slaughtered. A wave of death is spreading across our world. Only a few places remain as a final bastion of life. Only a few against an endless horde of oblivion. And within these few, a single band of unlikely heroes, bound by forces beyond their understanding. In this world, there is only a single word that describes their soul-bound connection.
You are all at the Tower of Eternal Nexus, also known as Hard's Tower, in the forest. You, this would probably be quite weird for you, Thrak, having only seen this tower in 2 locations, but they were snow-based snowlands with really just the tower and a bunch of ice and sleet and snow around. Whereas seeing the tower in a completely different environment, but it is the exact same tower. Everything that you look at, the brick, the mortar, the wood, the giant strange clock that seems to not tell the time, but actually indicates the position where the tower sits, kind of. The superposition in which you're able to access and not access the tower. That's what that denotes, kind of. You're also vaguely able to read it now. This thing stands within the forest, within the House of Knowledge, with the mana around the area kind of sparkling through the air. The animals and the creatures, even some of the trees here with their sort of surface thoughts permeating yours, each other's thoughts. The thoughts of Wriggle on one shoulder, the thoughts of Hard, who accompanies you, and he's already a little ahead of you at the tower. I think each of you come to the tower here, and once you step inside, you have a moment here where you're briefly able to rest. And the plan that we had just discussed before we went live was that you were going to take some form of a rest, whether it be a short rest or a long rest or 3 long rests consecutively, in order to try and wipe the exhaustion levels that Thrak has. I don't know if any of you have actually had a proper rest since the fight, although just because of some episodal nonsense, I did give you a free rest essentially because we had to mess with the sheets and things. Blame Leah. So you have had a sort of out of game recharge, but your characters haven't rested for a while. So what's the plan here as you step in? Again, the inside of this tower always looks the same because it is the same. The inside of this tower is always the same inside. Where you step out of it or step into it from may be different externally, but the insides will always remain the same. These aren't duplicates exactly. This is the same tower, especially on the inside. So everything in here would look very similar to probably how you left it last when you guys were in the giant lands in Selve. You did that kind of mini game, and you encountered a vampire That was the last time you were at this tower. You notice there's a couple of things moved around. Hard has obviously been in here, but generally speaking, it looks the same from the last time you left it. What is the plan here? Rest? Not rest? The time-sensitive element here is that there is a giant draconic angel flying towards you to kill you.
Yeah.
We need Thrakker's strength, really, if he is to stand a chance.
That is fair. However, there is, again, the matter of the giant angel of death spiraling towards us.
I fully understand how to move this tower, correct?
Yes, mechanically, you can move this. There's 3 types of moving this tower that you've posited so far.
Right.
Quick travel, I guess we can call it, where essentially you can jump between this and the other 98 towers, moving between those towers, essentially shifting the out point from the tower so you could come out of the tower at a different location. That you understand fully and believe that you could do quite easily using that wheel that is down in the basement. You've also sort of begun to figure out, after seeing Wriggle use the mirror, you recognize that Wriggle is a planar traveling creature, and through watching Wriggle do this, you understand how you might manipulate the weave. This is something that would be very difficult for you, and I don't think you understand fully, but it is something that you can potentially do using the tower as well. And then there's time travel, which seems borderline impossible to you at the moment. You'd have to learn it, and that could take years.
Yes, you move this place. Yes. From one spot to the other. Surely you can just figure out a way to move it from one point in time to another. Give yourself the time you need to rest. Take a leaf out of Wriggle's book.
Perhaps I could learn, but I think it would take a long bit of study. I don't think I'm in a position right now to take the risk. I need rest. But the question is, do we rest now, or do we move the tower and then rest? So, do I know how long it would take for us to move?
Hard could move the tower, if you're just quick traveling. He could potentially do it instead. Turning the wheel to move the tower between 2 locations would only take something like 10 minutes of concentration, a bit like ritual casting. Doing something like planar travel is going to take you a lot longer, like an hour of just like sort of concentrating on a spell, essentially. Time travel would take you as long as you want. You just don't know how to do it.
My one concern would be that Thrak said that Mordriel was on his way here. We don't know exactly how is he tied to you? How does he know where you are? Can he sense you? Is he coming to you or to where you are? Because if we move and we happen to be closer to him, that's doing nobody any favors.
Well, yeah, it would be doing this place a favor.
And how hard is it to move? Like, can we not just move every 10 hours or so? Just, always, be in front of him.
Yes, we could. But I'm not sure he'll know where we are. We have to find a way to reveal ourselves to him, I believe. I think that Cirrus may be our best chance at that.
You wish to reveal ourselves to him again so that he comes to us instead of here?
Yes. This may be the last bastion of life left in Gaia. Something worth saving.
What will I do?
Just reveal where we are to him somehow.
I can try.
Hard.
Hard is sort of... You'd look over to where he is, and he's messing around with something that would look a bit like, kind of like a metallic Rubik's Cube, but with no colours on it, just brass. He's just clicking this thing incessantly. You know, like if someone was clicking a pen, this whole time, probably in the background, you've just heard him. He looks up from this thing and says,
Yes. Can you move us somewhere?
Yes, I can do this. It is not difficult, but there is only so many times we can do it in succession before it becomes increasingly more difficult to do. It will take longer each time we try and do it. Your idea of leapfrogging is good, I think, but be aware, the more times we move in rapid succession, the longer it will take to, I don't know, cool down.
How long are you going to need, Thrak, to feel at your best?
A day. Maybe. We know that he's coming from the Empire, right? Which is far in the west.
yeah, you
Right.
know he's coming from the west, but you don't know if he's going around the ocean way or if he's going across the land.
Oh, right, because it's a globe. It's not a map. The Earth is flat. Okay.
You also
good
don't know
point.
how fast he can move.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But we're
Perhaps
in the
there's-
northeast corner of the continent, right?
From where you suspect he started moving from, you would... He's on the other side of the world, basically.
Okay.
He's about as far
Well,
away
but
from you as you can
but
get.
I'm saying we're at the north part of the continent, so if we went to the south part of the continent, is what I'm just trying to figure out.
Yeah,
we're
you're
in the north.
northeast.
Okay.
He,
Okay.
at least when he started moving, was northwest.
Okay. I think it would be best if we went somewhere southerly. It's far enough from here that I don't think it would be on the way. So, but the question is, do we wait? How long do we wait before we move? How long do we wait before we reveal our new location to him? I don't know.
You move now, surely, and then reveal ourselves. That's the only way if you want to protect this place.
Yes,
She speaks
I
true.
agree.
Cirrus, would you be able to somehow sense him?
Right now, from here,
from anywhere. Do you think you have that ability?
I close my eyes as I think about how I would do this.
As you close your eyes, see it close to me.
Close enough, I suppose.
I would grab Seer's hand and then grab Sirius's hand. Have Quura. We should use Quura. It is at your disposal.
There is no resistance.
Thrak looks at Julden with the most suspicious look on his face. Openly suspicious. What? What is
I
this?
look back, guileless. It's nothing I'm trying to hide.
Can I do detect magic to see if there's an illusion spell here? Like, is this Julden?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. I quickly use detect magic.
Yeah, doing detect magic in this tower is insane, by the way.
Wait, actually, it doesn't. It wouldn't work on a person, I don't think. So never mind. I don't do that. Can I use my innate arcane ability to find out if there's some sort of weave of illusory magic? I'm trying to figure out if this is some sort of trick, or if this is something other than Julden. She's acting completely differently than she was.
Yeah.
10 minutes ago.
Yeah, give me an Arcana check.
Okay. So we're still in the forest, so I still get the advantage?
Yeah, sure.
Or now that we're in the tower, I don't?
No, you can have it.
Okay, so that makes it normal, because I'm exhausted. A 30.
30. Julden, is there any sort of illusory magic that you're doing right now?
No, you don't detect anything unusual about me. Just a sense of calm. Attunement to the druidic magic that you know that I use. You feel it flowing through me willingly towards Seer and towards Sirius, as I try and encourage Sirius and Seer to make contact with their offhands.
I'd want to do an insight check, but I'll let other people play for a minute before I do.
There is no resistance from me. I just simply wait.
Okay. Yeah, I have my eyes closed and I give a light nod when Julden takes my hand. And I'm thinking about how I would find him where he is. And what's coming to mind is the fact that the way that I think of Morreel as an angel, as the mountain, I have always had this innate belief or sense that Morreel as the mountain is in fact everything, because mountains are made of earth, and so Morreel connects down through the ground with all of the earth of all of Gaia, and mountains also touch the sky. They are a go-between these two places, like a bridge between planes. And so I would be thinking of it that way, to try and see if I can find. And then it's funny because I have this sudden image of the spider that was hanging between my horns all this time. And I think of it suddenly like a web. Like Morreel is connected to a web in the earth and a web in the sky. And Mordriel would be touching that web and sending vibrations down through to Morreel, and then I'm requesting that Morreel share that information with me.
A very logical way to approach your innate ability to just feel things out. Okay. Roll me a d20.
Oh, goodness me. A 14.
A 14. Let me see something on your character sheet first.
I do find it interesting that you said logical.
Yeah. Do you?
I chose you because you're not logical. What the hell?
What happens here is how are you doing this? How are you like sat physically? What are you doing physically?
Well, we would have all been sat around the table, right? I don't think I actually, my hand is being held, so my palms aren't up or anything. I think I'm simply just closing my eyes and trying to reach out to the unseen force all around. Like the very air is a passage to connect to the mountain. The way that touching the earth did previously, it's like my whole body is touching the sky.
Okay. You
I literally have no idea if you think this is the stupidest thing I've ever said in my life, or if I'm
No,
like,
it makes so much sense when you think about you're harnessing druidic magic as well as seer spider magic. So this whole web thing and connecting with the earth makes so much sense.
It's the same response Brad has made to like some of the worst jokes I've ever made too. So I get it.
yeah.
He says, "Okay."
Me like, I'm gonna walk into traffic. Okay, you sure about that?
Yeah, you get a strange sensation, and it starts out physical. You start to feel cold. There's a sense of here of at first physical chill, and then something sort of deeper, more weird, more esoteric, some other element of, well, some non-elemental chill that washes over you. You are you're not really like meditating, and you're not really connecting with anything in nature. You're sat at a table in the world's most advanced artifact of magic, inside of a very sort of magical forest. So there's a deep sort of connection with the arcane and with magic and with this kind of bizarre superposition. This tower, while you're sat in it, is existing in Moon, where Morreel is. It's also existing in all of these other different locations. And you get this kind of really bizarre feeling wash over you that's almost like a queasy kind of motion sickness, I think. And then you feel kind of cold. You feel a physical chill, and I think you would recognize it as the chill of being so far north in Uma, in Moon, where the cold exists, and Morreel's mountain protects you from this cold. But then there's a deeper cold that comes through, that is the cold of death, the nothingness, the sort of vacuum of heat and life that washes over you, as well as you try and kind of piece together these two pieces of magic, I guess. I won't necessarily call them the same weave that Thrak is using. It's not necessarily the spider's web. But there are two kind of elements of magic that kind of move here. These two angels, and it is a divine sense of connection that you get. But you don't really get, what you don't get is sort of information. You don't get like a sense of where these creatures are. You know where Morreel is. It's very unlikely that Morreel has stood up and started walking. It's literally just a mountain. But you don't get a sense of location exactly. You're not like pinging a sonar here. And in the same way, you don't get the sense of location from Mordriel, but you do get that same sensation that Thrak got, in that you get the sense that Mordriel, while you're looking for him, he can see you. It's that Eye of Sauron feeling.
Okay.
Even just trying to sense him, you get the feeling what you might feel like is a child. Is a child stumbling in the dark, where there is this much more wise adult who's able to see everything and predict all of your movements, stumbling through this dark. This being is watching you in such a way that before you've even vaguely begun to understand what that chill of death might represent, he's already watched you do this whole process and understands that, and you do create a small connection with him. You do create a small connection with Morreel, and you do get that understanding, but it's not really like you get info. You just get this kind of sense. You can make me an insight check though.
Okay. I do have a question. Do I feel either of them with a different intensity?
Insight check.
Okay. $12. Ugh. Because I know where Morreel is, which means based on the intensity of Morreel versus Mordriel, I could maybe guess whether he's closer in the radius or further.
Yeah. Well, on a 12, not really. You don't really get...
Yeah, okay.
It's very difficult to understand things like intent, and you know how like very rarely you're thinking the full sentences of things you're thinking. You're just feeling things. You're just... Everything is just colors and shapes until you have to put it into a sentence to explain to someone else a lot of the time. It's that. That's the area you're moving in here. And all of this is happening in, moments. But you really only get these kind of instincts and understandings in a very general feeling way. You do get more specific senses that come up. I think maybe this would activate some sort of fear response in you, some sort of fight or flight response possibly. Maybe your heart starts beating a little quicker because you get the sense that this creature is looking for you, that this creature is specifically coming to get you. It doesn't care about Thrak, it doesn't care about Seer, it doesn't care about this tower, it doesn't care about the forest. He is coming to find you, to end you. He doesn't want you to exist anymore. Everything here, everything that has life must die, and it has to start with you, Cirrus. This being is specifically trying to find exclusively you.
I drop Jilden's hand. I kind of like hiss as I do it.
What is it?
I connected with him. He sees everything. He saw me before I saw him, and he's coming for me. I'm convinced it's for me.
Great,
And
so
not
now
Thrak.
he's still coming here.
Yes.
Well, you did what you came to do. I told him we were here.
I thought he already knew we were here.
Yes, but now he knows that I'm here. And when we move, I can try and connect again to bring him somewhere else. Right? That was the plan?
I fear we haven't overcomplicated things by doing things too soon, because now he knows where you are and where Thrak is. If you then move somewhere else, he might still think Thrak is here. I digress.
Perhaps he's just attracted to life.
All this conversation is happening. Thrak sort of is he's leaning on his staff, and his eyes are sort of drooping, but he's trying to focus them on Jordan. He's not fully paying attention to the words that are being spoken, but I'm going to try to do an insight check. This personality change.
Okay.
That's going to be disadvantaged because I'm exhausted. 15.
I mean, this is entirely up to you, Hilden, to determine how you want. You can try and counter this with a deception check if you like to just make something up.
What
or
are
can give him
you
whatever info.
looking to find?
Well, I think he's trying to figure out if you're being genuine, if like you really believe things that you're saying. I'm trying to figure out why the sudden change of heart.
When you came across me, after the mirror happened, there was a sense of calmness that you felt within me, a sense of a decision having been made. You sense that same calmness. You all pushed me to go with you. And I have come with you, and I have followed, and as I hold Sirius's hand, you feel not an ounce of any disingenuineness. You don't feel anything that seems untoward. In fact, you sense, with what you know of my power and my magics, you understand that I am giving Sirius everything I have with openness. You don't sense any deception. You don't sense anything being hidden.
Okay. Hard can take you somewhere else. I think you should go to the south, maybe the southeast or south central of the continent. I need to rest, and I'll start walking away towards my room. Is my little friend on my shoulder still?
Yeah, I think Wriggle just sort of sticks to your shoulder. Give me an insight check again.
Okay.
On Wriggle.
A 12.
Kind of hard to say, but you get the sense that Wriggle feels comfortable in the Yeti pelt, as opposed to on anything else in here. The vague once you step into this tower, the telepathy situation kind of drops for the most part. You get the sense that if you really pushed it, you might be able to reconnect to it, but before you stepped over, Wriggle was very confused about the tower itself, and in general why people live in these built structures when there are caves everywhere that you could just live in. Why build a house when you could just live in a cave? Seems like a complete waste of time to him. And there's a vague sense that he is uncomfortable in houses and in this tower, but feels quite comfortable on the Yeti pelt.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll start heading towards my room.
Yeah.
Okay, I go into my room and I lay down, and I guess Wriggle can make a little bed out of the Yeti pelt.
He does that thing that dogs do where they go around and round and round for a bit and then just scratches at it and lays down. But I think you might lay down and the exhaustion starts to wash over you, and you're a little wired from everything that's happened as you're thinking about all of the events that have led up to this and all of the possible ways this could go and how important it is, and you should do this and maybe try this, maybe we should go over there, maybe we should do that. But the physical exhaustion kind of starts to outweigh the thought processes going on in your head, and slowly you drift off to sleep. And as you do so, we as an audience, I think, would recognize that Wriggle is laying down on this Yeti pelt across the room, and is just unblinkingly staring at Thrak. He's just sitting there looking at Thrak with a kind of just expressionless look on his little icy face, watching Thrak from the Yeti pelt. Back down the stairs in the kind of little common area, again a very messy study / kitchen. Everywhere there are books or little objects and little things across this area, as well as this very small kitchen area that's kind of like it looks like a university dorm. It's just covered in pots and pans and coffee cups and things like that, with this small table with a few stools around it that sits over the basement door that leads down into that maze. Hard turns to the rest of you and says,
Where would you like to go? There are many options, of course. Not many of them very safe anymore.
Well, Thrak said south, right?
Yes. We can go
I
south.
suppose, where is the safest southernmost location you can take us?
I have not been anywhere that is particularly safe. Moon is the safest place that I visited on my travels.
But how safe is this tower? Is it defended?
I do not know. The creature does not seem to have figured out how this tower works. I think perhaps it doesn't realize. I am a little concerned that us moving suddenly will perhaps allow it to understand that we are able to travel very quickly, but I do think it is also our best defense. Fighting this thing seems like a terrible idea, so I think running, if we can use the tower to jump and get ahead of it in any way, then it is probably the best way to go. There are islands far from here. Kisa, down by Dragonfall. Perhaps he has not been this far yet. The most southern point that I can think of from where we are right now would be, I suppose, Hillsfar. Unless the mist has turned, perhaps we can go there. It was always a place of joy. The Lernian Kingdom. Though I do not wish to run into an undead hydra stomping around.
I think an island sounds nice now.
The island is in the west, a little closer to where your foe is, but perhaps it will confuse him. Hillsfar is much further south of here. It would put you, he would still be on the other side of the world from where we believe him to be.
I'll look to the other two. I suppose that sounds the safest of the options. I mean, as far as I've been told or understand about this tower of yours, if we were to move, this tower is still going to be here, right?
The tower itself will exist in form. There have been other towers that have been destroyed before. It has no effect on the inside. It has no effect on the outsides of the other towers.
Oh good, you read my mind. I was just about to ask, what if a giant was to smash the tower from the outside once we got there? You've answered my question.
This has happened before. We have no way to rebuild the towers. I am more concerned with the fact that this creature seems to understand the weave. If it understands the weave, it could rival Thrak. Or perhaps even the great builder who made these towers. Perhaps it will figure out how to track the tower, or God forbid, use the tower. I am not sure what terrible things it could do, but it is old, right? The creature that hunts us, we must assume it is far more intelligent and wiser. It is motivated by its own personal bloodlust, but I do not know.
You fear it could utilize the tower to its own end?
Perhaps. I cannot imagine it expects us to have something like this at our disposal.
Well, then yet again, the further away the better, no? As long as there is no direct path between where he is and this place, I doubt Thrak would care.
I think that the options should be Moon. It is right at the center of east and west. We could go to Ixalan, though I think perhaps it would be a little disrespectful to Thrak to go to his homeland, though it is at the center of Gaia. I think perhaps the Lernian Kingdom would be a good option.
Back to Moon. As far as we know, the folk at Moon are still alive, no? If we were to go back, surely we would be signing their death warrants for them, no?
If the creature is able to track us, yes. But we would have other people we could treat with Thor's Oswald, see if they have any bright ideas, though I imagine Thor's will fall back on prophecy and Oswald will suggest us go and find the spear.
In that case, far be it for me to be sentimental, I look at Cirrus, but maybe perhaps Moon isn't the best idea then,
Then the options are the Cat Island, although I think perhaps it may be a little close to where the creature is. If it is able to follow, sense you as you suspect, then that could be a bad idea for us, but it is far. Very far from here. The Lernian Kingdom is about as south as it gets. And Hillsfar is about as southwest. At least as far southwest as I can imagine that is not barbarous land.
How often can we move the tower? How fast between moves?
Well, the difficulty comes in the person who is moving it. For example, I think the fastest I have ever been able to move the tower is from one location to another that was very close. So I was able to move from Uma to Den in 6 minutes. Usually it takes around 10 to 15 minutes of concentration to turn the wheel. The further, more difficult. That includes height. For some reason it is difficult to go high to the highest mountains, or there are towers at the bottom of the oceans. These are hard to get to. It is hard to factor in things. There are elements to this world that are strange. If you were to swim all the way down as far as you could, imagine holding your breath, your blood would turn on you in your own body, like being crushed by a giant. You must factor these things in. You must also use the weave, not in the way that Thrak is able to, but the wheel is a very strange artifact that is able to manipulate the weave, almost more like one would be spinning weave on a spinning wheel. So, taking into account these varying things, one would be able to move the tower. It would take between 10 and 15 minutes to move it once. To do it again immediately, I think it would take double the time without taking a moment to rest, an hour or two. Both the tower will struggle with multiple quick moves in succession, but more the user will struggle. It could backfire as well, successive moves, followed by perhaps a failure on the part of the wizard who is trying to move the tower. Any number of things could happen, but it would simply either not move, or perhaps everybody inside is killed. It is very dangerous, very complex. But the going understanding is, without a short rest of sorts, it will take double the time it took to move. 15 minutes.
We don't need to be
30.
moving quickly. We just need to be moving enough distance.
At the very least,
Yes.
twice. Once to get his attention off this place, and then the next. Well, of course, so we don't die to this creature.
Yes. I think it is worth moving the tower, at least to see if he is able to continue to find where you are, and then perhaps see how he responds.
Right.
Serious. You have had contact with this Mordriel now, yes?
However brief, yes.
Do you have a taste of what he is, his essence, perhaps?
Death. Just the annihilation of everything.
Well, yes. I suppose what I'm trying to say is I have many curiosities about this Mirggles and his connections. I do wonder if perhaps, if he has been following us this whole time, if that is how Mordriel has also been finding us. I was wondering perhaps you could take a look at him, see if you sense anything familiar there.
Sure, yeah, I can do that.
But first, you must take care of yourself. I begin pottering around, making a very familiar cup of tea.
We should decide where to go now.
Yes, but we're not getting any closer to a decision, so tea. See ya? Tea?
Yes, of course. Thanks.
So I lean forward on the table and look back to Hod. Valernian Kingdom. If we were to go there, it sounds very dangerous. If there is any undead, they will be formidable foes. Would it not be a good place to convince Mordriel to go? There is a undead hydra. Do you think that that undead hydra could be an enemy, enough of a fight to keep Mordriel busy?
Gonna roll a dice for hard here.
I mean, if this Hydra is undead, surely it's already under his sway?
I was thinking something similar.
Can I ask a weird question?
Yes.
That might have already been explained very clearly, but are the undead actually acting under Mordriel's command, or have the undead just become undead because Mordriel's here and they're just doing whatever?
Myre sort of suggested that that he's able to control all undead. He's enslaved all of them. He did that with lizard folk on his side. And you would presume it's the same here, though. Roll me just an intelligence check or a history check. You know what? You can roll a history check for your own history.
Oh, okay. I'll take history. 15.
There aren't that many undead that seem to have been created on this side. There have been a couple that you've bumped into. The elves, Bruno, the vampire. But for the most part, people that are dying on this side don't seem to be coming back as undead. You're finding corpses everywhere, right? You're finding dead people, and there's endless amounts of dead creatures, including dead angels. But they don't seem to be coming back and resurrecting. A handful of them are, but if it seems from the story you were told, and the fact that there is just a whole other world's worth of lizard folk that have poured through onto this side and have spread out. Half of the reason this world is dead is not down to Mordriel's AoE death effect. It's just because there is endless amounts of zombies, lizard folk zombies, that are killing everyone. So, while yes, to answer your first question, he does seem to be able to enthrall them. He doesn't seem to be raising as many over here, or they don't seem to be coming back when one dies on this side.
Can I? I don't. How do I say this? How would I approach this? I turned to Hod. I think I've noticed that he doesn't seem to be raising a lot of undead here. Do you think there could be something to do with souls? Like, the fact that we all have souls means that we're unable to be re-raised as undead, and the fact that the lizard folk didn't means that they're able to be wielded as an army.
Let's roll another dice for hard. A 10 for hard. He says,
It could be something like this. I would not put it past the magic that comes with souls. I have not done much study on such things. The abilities of the Quura and the fact that this creature was created from giving a soul to a lizard. But it's not something I understand very well. A soul is... Well, what is a soul? If it is not energy that can be manipulated in some way for arcane purposes, it seems to be possible that this could be what is happening. Perhaps he is able to only control beings with no soul. Perhaps having a soul puts you outside of the realm of his influence, or perhaps you have a choice.
I'm not so sure how much evidence there is to that, considering there is that one blood-sucking friend who is from here and is under his sway, if not partially.
This creature,
Right.
you spoke with it?
Yes. Briefly.
Did it tell you why it was working for this creature? Was it enthralled as if it had been charmed by some sort of magic, or did it do it on behalf of its own volition?
It seemed to have its own agency, however, it also mentioned a push, a force, making it want to, as opposed to needing to. It was able to show what seemed like restraint, however thin. It seemed to have its faculties, but not all at the same time.
Then, perhaps it is, perhaps it is enthralled, perhaps it is not. Who knows what kind of magics Mordriel has at his disposal.
Are we
At
really
any
sure he
rate-
was even from here?
He did
You made an
mention he
assumption.
was. Well, now that you mention here, I wonder, because if he was from the other Gaia, where they have no souls, can they even converse without one? Or do they just do?
I
don't
suppose there's a
know.
whole conversation to be had about how much free will a soul enables you to have, how much you can't have without one, what a soul even
Right.
means.
At any rate, and I turn my gaze to Hard, is there a tower or can there be one? By Ku.
There is one at Ku.
Well, that is our final destination, at least the one we know we need to get to. I personally could care less about where we go to before then. I'm not sure if it matters necessarily if we're only going to be there for a maximum of 10 minutes.
Right.
Now, I know nothing of the South. Before or after this calamity, so I have no idea what to even decide. It's a crapshoot. All I know is that Moon is likely not the best place to go. It's the
Agree.
safest bet. However, we're here to save the world and what's left of it, I guess.
If you care about the people in Moon, you will not bring a foe such as Mordriel there.
Which is why I wouldn't even deign to bring up Moon as an... Anyway. So that leaves the South. The Lernian Kingdom. Better late than never, right? What? Better... You get... Can we go? Sia gets
Yes,
a bit
have your
vexed.
tea.
Oh, thank you.
Hillsfar sounded a better option than the Lernian Kingdom. Just as far, but not as dangerous, potentially.
Then it's decided.
All right.
You,
Morreel, help us.
you would like me to take the tower to Hillsfar?
Yes, Hod, please.
Very well. I will have to get to the basement.
You're
Oh, right.
pointing underneath one of the table legs, and all of your like teas and stuff are on the thing.
I get
One
up and I kind of
question.
start pushing it. Oh, yeah.
How will we know when we're there? Will we see out the window, or is there a
Is there going
sound?
to be a ding?
Is there a ding? I
I
look for a bell.
suspect that you three would not know. But Threk probably will. I will return and let you know. It will not feel like very much, I think, for the three of you, but who knows? Maybe you are more in tune with the wheel than we realize.
Very
All
well.
right.
I suppose we will see.
He starts heading down the steps into the basement area. After a few minutes, you hear the footfalls and the staff taps of his large wooden staff that he's got disappear. The three of you are left in the kitchen alone. If you want to do anything, if you don't want to do anything, you can just fast forward time.
I would like to find a mirror.
Okay. Like a large mirror or a small mirror.
Any actual thing that is a mirror, but yeah, doesn't
Okay.
matter what size.
Yeah, give me a perception check.
27.
27. There's a mirror in this room. There's a little handheld looking thing. A very basic looking mirror with like a pearlescent back to it. And like a really sort of simple iron trim around it. But it's a little handheld, classic old looking thing. The mirror on it is a little grimy. Looks kind of old.
Is it like Victorian? Just asking for a friend. The friend is me. Is it like, you know, recognizable to me, a human being on planet
looking
Earth?
at this thing? It is a little Victorian, yeah. It would be a little Victorian in style, but I don't think we would recognize. Like, you wouldn't be able to give this to someone who was actually knowledgeable on this, and they wouldn't be like, this is circa Victorian, but it would look similar.
Yeah.
It would be that kind of style, but no, it's not
Interesting.
it's not an actual Victorian one, or is it?
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
You're not going to Manhattan.
No. Okay, I would like to pick up the mirror and look into it, and I want to see if I can see my soul.
Okay.
Like the original, like, you know how I had that moment with Jilden? I want to see if I can replicate it.
Yeah, give me an insight check.
Okay. This means no. 11! What a time.
Yeah, you're staring at yourself for a little while. You just see you. A reflection of you in this kind of grimy mirror.
The longer I look, the more uncomfortable I become before I just kind of like put it down, mirror side down, and I'm like, ugh. And then I walk away and grab my tea and go and stare out the window.
Okay. Anyone else doing anything else?
Nothing yet until we move.
Okay. Alright, so you are moving from the House of Knowledge to Hillsfar, was what you told him, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Hillsfar. Hillsfar by name, Hillsfar by nature, they say. Okay. I think it's probably about 45 minutes before you see Hard again. However, Thrak, I know you're asleep, but make me an insight check. I don't know if he's even here. I don't think he is.
I think you have to step away to.
I thought he was joking when he said I have to redo my lipstick, BRB. I thought he was just memeing in our group chat. But he's actually not here. Okay, never mind. The tower shifts. And you end up in another place. But I don't think anyone's aware of it because it doesn't seem to do anything. I guess, actually, you know what? Maybe you are aware of it. Everyone can make me...
A question before you ask for the roll.
Hmm.
Back in the hills where the vampire was, we saw him out the window.
Correct.
So if we can't tell where we are, what do we see out the window?
You see out the window the forest, the House of Knowledge. And it remains that way.
I see.
You want to make me an intelligence check?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, you know just how intelligent I am, and how great I am at intelligence rolls, and about how awesome I am at delaying until I'm able to do the check I've been
I need
asked
an
to do.
insight check from Thrak as well.
A 17 for intelligence.
Yeah, so the entire magic around this tower is based on observation. So until you see until someone tells you what to see, you just see where you think you are, and you see what you think you see.
Right.
So you wouldn't feel from the inside of this tower any change because the inside remains the same. And since all of the towers are in superposition, you would just see out the window what you saw out of the window when you came here until someone else tells you.
It's like that one episode in House when that guy suddenly goes blind and he thinks he can still see, but he can't until he bumps into something.
It's exactly like that.
Right.
You have to hit F5 on the window. Exactly that. Thank you, Piranha. Thrak, while asleep, you know what? You don't recognize anything. We, as an audience, see all of the little icicles that make up kind of Wriggles' weird part frost, part skin body stand on end as they... And he kind of like looks around him, breaking eye contact with the sleeping Thrak for the first time as the tower does shift. But for the rest of you, it doesn't seem to change. But I would like to have... I guess you can just make me wisdom saves. Would probably make sense. I don't know at this point.
Saves.
I've got no... There are no rules in the book for this.
11.
15 and an 11. Leah here.
Yes, I rolled a 12.
A 12. Yeah, no, you guys are not aware of anything happening until Hard comes rattling up the steps again. Dunk, 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 as his staff and large Goliath feet slap the stones, and you see his head poke up out of the trapdoor and make his way up, and he just walks straight past you all and opens the front door. And as he does so, he says,
We have arrived. Let's see what Hillsfar looks like.
As he opens the door, I'm still looking at the window because I'm expecting travel of some sort. How does that look?
now that you become aware that you have arrived, and now that Hard observes the outside and everyone else observes it, the image of the forest just changes and you see Hillsfar outside. It is probably really weird to witness as everything changes. The time of day changes a little bit. The fact that there was this kind of vibrant, lush landscape that shifts suddenly to another dead one. as you appear in Hillsfar. Hillsfar, so I don't have a transition for this because I didn't know where you guys were going to go. But I do have some idea of what it looks like for you all. Hillsfar is another sadly ruined and blighted landscape. It is a land where in life and in death the grass is vibrant orange across here. Hillsfar, I don't know if it would be... I'll give you the common knowledge of what most people would probably know about. So this place is dead south of where you are in the world. It's south of it's south of Azadin, but you'd have to go all the way south and then around or across a mountainscape and then south across some kind of barbarous land to a part coastal region, though you don't appear to be on the coast here. And this place was known for being kind of a joyful place. This is a place where the sun was said to be brighter, that food tasted better, and that the people were happier. The angel here was the white violet, which was a mist that would fall across the land from time to time. Generally doesn't have like an obvious and immense magical element to this angel. Like it doesn't do anything necessarily, but this is an angel to Lyra, the goddess of joy. And in general, while the mist itself doesn't do anything, the angel of joy and the area just seem to provide a passive joy buff. This was at one point the Costa del Sol. This was the south of France. This was the nicest, this was the dawn of this world, but it sits on the other side of the Lernian kingdom and is surrounded by barbarous land. So they had these kind of, this kind of very beautiful, relaxing, almost like holiday destination areas where there were these towns that were inland, surrounded by this bright orange vibrant grass and just like wonderful lush meadows and trees and things. Lots of hills, a very hilly area, and then it goes down to the coast, and the entire south side of Hillsfar is just a wonderful set of beaches that run from all the way from east to west, with these wonderful white sands and just, you know, wonderful little settlements that people would just enjoy themselves at. And it was a little debauched. It was a little, you know, people kind of came down here and they went on their little ecstasy trips. But that was kind of, that's the general knowledge of what Hillsfar was like. However, as Hard opens the door here, what you see outside is far from a vibrant, warm-looking area. The grass remains orange. And it's kind of odd, even in the bizarre kind of death state that the world is in. You see sets of deadened trees, and you see this very dead set of bushes, and the grass certainly looks withered and dead, but the grass remains orange in color. However, the area is kind of grim and dark looking. There is a fog and a mist that is just sitting very thickly. Almost as soon as Hard opens the door, you can only see, you know, a few feet, 30 feet ahead before it just becomes enshrouded in a deep mist, with this fog settling over everything. Hard opens the door and says,
A shame. I was kind of hoping that perhaps this place had survived being so far away on the coast. I do not want to know what this fog does. The white violet. You know, I have no idea what the White Violet does, or what it did.
Would I? DM.
You can roll me a history check, or I guess you could roll me a religion check as well, if you wanted.
12.
A 12. No, I don't think so on a 12. I think it's very much a kind of a general worldwide mystery. Hard says
The going theories are that the angel doesn't really do anything but turn the grass orange and provide the people with a spoonful of happiness. Now, I fear it may be noxious. Who wants to be the canary?
So you're saying that this
Not
fog
me.
is the corpse of the old god? Or angel?
Maybe. I mean, perhaps we just arrived and it was foggy, but if I were a betting man, which I am not, I would suggest that this is the White Violet.
I step through.
make me a constitution
Not
saving
far,
throw.
just... Okay.
Oh,
A 20.
Yeah, nothing happens to you. You step out. There's a moment where you wonder whether something would happen to you or not, and there's no immediate sensation that takes over you. Your skin doesn't blister or anything like that. You hesitantly take a breath, take in a deeper breath. Seems to be fine. There isn't that. There's maybe a slight fear that you would have that same sensation you'd have at Condor's Reach with the dead condor that was kind of almost radioactive. But it doesn't seem to be that case here. Immediately, at least, seems to be breathable air. The fog doesn't seem to be permeating and hurting you in any way, and it doesn't seem to be poisonous or something, along those lines.
I don't go for a journey or anything, but I just step outside the threshold of this tower, looking back towards Cirrus and Jilden.
How do you feel?
Fine.
Hard steps out. He kind of takes a couple of awkward steps down the few. So there's quite a few steps that lead up to this doorway, by the way, to the tower every time. There is a little pathway that seems to lead away from where the tower is. The tower again doesn't teleport, right? It's there already. He takes a few steps out. One of Hard's arms is in a sling. If you remember, it looks kind of withered and decayed almost. Looks like a dead arm in a sling. And he uses his staff to kind of awkwardly move down the steps and balance himself. He kind of does a similar thing, looks around, takes in a few breaths, and says,
Yes, I think it is safe for now. I would not trust something like this, but perhaps we take a look around. At least there is no army of dead.
Well, the intention isn't to leave this place.
he's already
or to-
walking away from you.
I'll also step out.
He's a dead man.
He's curious by nature and starts making his way down the steps. For a Goliath, he's pretty old. He's not the oldest Goliath ever. But he does seem, since the last time you saw him in Moon, he seems like he's been through some shit. He seemed more aged, smaller, weaker, sicker, and he has that damage to his arm. And he makes his way down the steps, relying on his staff quite a lot to do so. As you all, get to the doorway, Jilden steps out. You see him make it to the bottom few steps, and he taps at a deadened tree branch that's sitting at the bottom of the stairs, and it kind of crumbles a little, and he reaches down and grabs a fistful of dead orange grass, looks at it, stuffs it into a pocket, and then he starts just meandering around, poking and prodding at things.
Well, Time, I turn to Cirrus, is of the essence. Are you able to do what you did before? To communicate or contact or link with this creature?
Yes. I can try.
Would you like our help again?
Was it necessary before?
I will always take your help, yes?
In which case, hold that thought. I reach into my robe and I pull out a small, elongated but nondescript wooden box. Nothing is on it. It's got two small brass hinges to it. I open it, and inside there is a slightly large compass, silver. It's got little gems, encrusted lines going from one gem to the other, like a constellation. I turn it upwards and look at the needle, and DM, I want to focus on this avatar of death, this angel, this Mordriel.
Okay. What are the rules on this thing again? Do you have to make any checks?
I do. No checks whatsoever. If you hold the compass and concentrate on a person, object, or location for 1 minute, the compass will point in approximately that direction until closed again.
Okay, and you are concentrating on Mordriel.
Correct.
I wonder. Let me roll a little check for my boy. Okay. Yeah. So you see this thing start spinning slowly. It turns and turns and turns for a moment. Then it spins very quickly before coming to a sudden kind of stop. Ding, 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 ding. It is pointing northwest of you. I sometimes get my east and west mixed up, and I'm sorry every time I get it wrong and I say the wrong piece of information, but northwest of where you are.
Perfect.
You would say that this was pointed towards the Midlands of, if we had a world map, and you're in pretty much the southwesternmost part of this map on the end of a peninsula. This thing is pointing northwest of you. Mordriel, your best guess would be at Moon, or he would be at Ixalan or somewhere like that.
Right. So looking at this then, this creature has been pursuing towards our previous location at quite the pace. So I'm going to look and focus on this needle and see if it's moving at all. Because of where we are down south, he's west going east at pace. Is this needle pointing perfectly towards a location, or is it moving very, very incrementally, maybe a degree after like maybe 10 seconds?
After 10 seconds, probably not. No.
Okay.
He's moving pretty quickly though. He's done half the world in a few hours.
Right.
The world isn't huge though. He's moving at a rapid pace compared to you guys would be able, your travel time has been a couple of months. It took you a couple of months across a kind of a bullshit landscape of like snow.
Right.
I think it was a couple of months. He's done
so
that
setting
in a few
this
hours.
thing down, it's not moving at all.
I'm
not able to.
It's not moving. It's moving probably very, very slowly. You're pretty far away, as well.
Right. Okay. And with my eyes bullshit, I'm not able to maybe perhaps ascertain even the slightest of movement.
Yeah, probably. All right. Yeah. He's moving fast enough, and this thing is accurate enough that probably is moving imperceptibly slowly from one side to the other as he's continues moving east.
Right.
Yeah.
All right then. Okay, proceed. I look at Cirrus.
All right. I take a couple of steps down. I leave the tower. I hit the earth. I would like to look around at, like, is there anything of note in the landscape around where we currently are, or is it kind of all just like the same repeated dead?
Give me a perception check with disadvantage because it's foggy. You can't see that far into this fog. You know that weird fog that kicks in where it's just like bizarre that you can't see ahead of you? It's that level of thickness. A 14. There's really not anything of note here. There may be out a little further into the fog or something like that. The only real sort of man-made stuff that you can see around is obviously the tower, and there is a sort of a very basic path that stretches outwards away from the tower, from wherever the foot of the tower is heading away from. But you don't see anything of note. This was probably surrounded by wouldn't call it a forest, like a sparse woods at one point.
Okay. Yeah. I go to my knees and I place my hand on the ground. If you want, you can put your hands on my shoulders.
Not sure if I could reach, but I appreciate the offer. I look up and look back down again.
Wait,
Yes,
what?
perhaps you should. We're both quite short.
I'm
not that
5'3",
huge.
6'4" Goliath.
What, me?
You're 6 foot
I'm not
something,
that-
right?
I'm 5 foot. I am. Hold on. I'm medium.
Yeah, she's
think
an
I'm like
she's an
5'10".
elf dragonborn.
Exactly.
We've been through
I'm
this.
an-
You're under 6 foot. We've definitely been
Yeah,
through this
I'm under
with
6
Frank
foot.
before. Yeah, she's like
I'm also on my knees.
5'10" or something. I think was what it was.
You're on your
Yeah.
knees. All right, okay.
On the ground. But
Reluctantly,
I love that you think that about me.
Yeah, she's not this hulking beast. She's she's like regular human sized.
All right.
In real life,
I'm a
hulking beast.
We just had the moment where, like, you're reading a book and you like have the image of what someone looks like, and then suddenly on like page 300 the writer's like, and he was blonde, and you're like, wait, what? Sorry. Okay.
As a drow, I'm 5'2", which is fairly tall for one, but we don't really get much taller than 5'4". But I just recall you being described as large before. Not large as in large creature, but just
Yeah.
big.
Just reminded me I never looked at the height that I set all those sessions ago, and I am under 5 foot.
You can change it
okay.
because you've said it. You said otherwise.
No, this is great. It's because I'm stooped.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But I
continue.
should be,
Yes.
yeah, I
Hand
should
on
be
shoulder.
within. Yep. Yeah, and then I put my hand on the ground and I would like to do the same technique. I would like to connect religiously through the air and the ground to feel and contact Mordriel.
Said like a true atheist. Just okay. Okay, so you've got hands on the ground, one hand on the ground. They're
Yes, yeah.
they're touching you.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Reluctantly, yes. Left hand on her left shoulder.
Okay. Make me a wisdom check.
Just a straight wisdom. Yeah.
Straight whiz.
Straight whiz. Oh, a 9? That sucks.
Oh, you have advantage if they're actively helping you, right? Kind of.
Oh,
Right.
Yes.
does that mean I get to re-roll that?
It means you roll again and you take the higher of the two.
Okay.
So roll one more.
22.
Okay. Lucky they were touching you, huh?
Yep.
We should touch more often.
Yeah, it's almost like there's a theme
Okay.
in this, that whenever you guys work
So
together,
sad,
it
yes.
improves everything, huh?
Mm.
You are... You're touching the ground, the earth, yeah?
Yes, I
Outside.
am. Yes.
There is this bizarre sense that washes over you here. Pretty quickly. You make contact with the ground. You feel the earth underhand, and it's very different from being inside that tower. Once again, you're outside of an enchantment. You're outside of this weird, magical, arcane, logic superposition tower, and you're in contact with nature. The sensation that washes over you starts with you seeking Morreel. But what you get is a connection with this fog. The feeling of your comrade's hands on your shoulders, or whatever it was, washes away from you straight away. And you kind of just lose yourself in this kind of landscape. The fog that is around you washes over you and starts to move and swirl about you. It moves into you. It goes in through your ears and eyes, nose, mouth. And we see this kind of sensation that you have where you become lost from your kind of corporeal senses and awash with this fog and mist. And you float towards Morreel, carried and buoyed across this sea of mist and fog. And it's not like you're traveling north exactly, you travel simply from one angel to another. And you move on this endless sea. There are two beings in this sea. One of them in one, we'll call it a direction, and one in another. You are seeking Morreel, or you are seeking Mordriel?
I'm seeking Mordriel.
You start moving towards Mordriel. You're able to use your connection with Morreel to move towards this other being. Make me an intelligence check, just a basic int.
Three.
Perfect. The creature that Mordriel is, the fog that carries you is the energy of a dead angel. It's really no more than what would essentially be a wire, you know. The battery, the energy and the power that really gives you all of your abilities and gives you your understanding of this and gives you your connection to all of these things is coming from Morreel. But there's also an element to this where you are connecting as a living being with another living being, which is Gaia. Gaia, the world, is still alive. It is on death throes. It's choking from the amount of death and the decay and the blight that Mordriel has brought to it, but you are connected with this thing. Mordriel's a strange being to your mortal understanding and your ability to comprehend what Mordriel is. He's both an angel and a sort of dragon. He is a being of death, but he's also a being of life. And he's a strange sort of yin-yang. You know, he's like a yin-yang of energy to your senses, where there's a lot of duality to him, because he's alive, but he's also an undead. He's an angel of death, but to be an angel of death, you have to be an angel of life. And there's all of this energy, but you're able to kind of locate this energy. But the energy locates you as well. Give me an insight check.
Okay. $27.
You can fully bring yourself to where he is on this sea to sort of try and geolocate him, or maybe just seek him for whatever information it is that you are trying to discover. You can bring yourself all the way to where he is if you would like. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's do it. Yep, let's do it.
You move and continue to just float awash on this sea, on this endless kind of mist. There is no real sky, there is no real surface ground, or even, you know, it's not like you're floating on water exactly. It's not even really like you have a corporeal form. You're just kind of moving through an endless sea of mist and fog before you bring yourself towards this energy. And the closer you get to it, the more intimidating it is and the bigger it becomes. The sense of energy that you get from Morreel, even when you stand within the mountain and pray and connect with Morreel, the sense of energy that you get from this new being is unbelievable. It's overwhelming. It is like moving. It would be like if you were floating towards the sun, and the closer you get to this thing, the more intense it gets. It becomes this kind of roiling, overwhelming, intense energy. And eventually it starts to burn away the fog, the mist that's carrying you, and you recognize that you're no longer being propelled by your own energy, and you're no longer being carried by the fog. You're being brought and dragged towards this new energy. You feel like you're inside the giant fist of an enormous creature, as if a giant with a doll was bringing you in. You are minuscule inside this palm. Make me a wisdom saving throw.
12.
That's a fail. Okay, so
What a time to fail.
yeah, how much HP have you got?
61.
61. Roll 2d6.
5.
Okay, take that much as damage right now.
Okay.
As you approach this thing, it isn't so much that you're taking physical damage. Your physical form is currently sat on the floor with a hand in this orange grass with your eyes rolled up in your head, and the other two kind of looking at each other, not sure what's exactly going on. But for you, time is moving at an altogether hugely different rate than it is for them. Your life force and your essence of life is being drained from you. Just this creature isn't pulling it from you, it's just what happens when you're near this being, even in this completely non-corporeal, whatever's going on, mind palace version. You're still losing life force as it is burning some of your life energy away from you. Through what remains of this mist, a huge form appears, a draconic element to it, not exactly corporeal either, kind of shadow, some color, a sickly green washes over the area, and what would probably look to us like a shadow appearing of a dragon through this fog appears to you. Two piercing red eyes suddenly form, and this sickly green energy starts to pierce the fog. As it does so, you start to feel unwell in whatever way that manifests. There is a sense of dread that comes with being near this creature regardless, and there is a sort of I guess we'll call it a sort of scent of death. But, I don't think you're really experiencing this in a one way. You get the sense that you're suffering a sort of a mental strain as well, almost as if this thing is pressing on your sanity to be near. And you recognize that this being has you. This is a situation where you would feel almost as if you were manacled and chained and held in place, as this shadowy, draconic figure through this fog witnesses you and holds you. There's a moment where you can kind of almost make out a mouth around this creature. As it opens its mouth, there is a lick of green flame that rushes upwards. What do you do? It's just staring at you.
Oh my god. I think my mind is a bit empty in a way, because I'm just so overwhelmed by so much input. But I will sort of try and conjure my voice. Are you Mordriel, Earth Eater?
Mordriel, the Earth Eater.
The figure shifts and shrinks. The eyes still remain red, but the form shrinks down a little bit. The green, sickly energy remains, but you get this additional understanding of what looks more like a small dragonborn on the other side of this. Horns, 2 wings remain, but a more humanoid kind of figure that steps forward and steps through this fog. What is standing before you is bizarre. It looks like your father with a strange sort of mirror-like element to him, in that your father steps through this thing, but your father has your face and wings and is decaying with red eyes. And the being says, I am not an Earth Eater.
I would like. Can I roll an insight check on why, if it was on purpose, that he took this form to speak with me?
Yeah, make me an insight check.
21.
21. I'm gonna roll a check here of my own. 12. You get the sense that it was on purpose, but naturally inaccurate, in that it wasn't. What is happening is a combination of your mind trying to comprehend this being, and also Mordriel trying to present a form that is something that isn't going to instantly make you go insane to look at.
Delightful. Okay.
He says, you are curious to me, you and your thorns. How is it that you are able to find me? How can you sense me?
You are an angel, no?
No, I am more. I am ascendant.
Well, I'm able to speak with angels. Sometimes.
The
I want
angels
you-
here do not speak. Not properly.
How do you mean properly?
There are some that are able to communicate in ways, but the angels here are abominations. What you consider
do
to
not
be
think so.
communication is simple commune between mortals and immortal beings.
Is that such a bad thing?
Ultimately, it matters not. I find you curious. But soon you will be gone, along with everything else.
I want to, thank you for your kindness of your form. I understand. You did it for me.
Is that what you think?
Is it not small amount true.
I need you to be able to understand me, so that I can ask you the questions that I wish to have answers for. Nothing more. To reduce your petty mind to nothing more than a gibbering wreck would actually help my cause. But I see an opportunity.
And what is that opportunity?
How are you moving as quickly as you are? There are no teleportation runes. There are no spells that you should be capable of that will move you this quickly, this far. I can think of only 2 ways that you are doing this. 1, you have discovered the weave, and one of you is able to use it. 2, you are able to manipulate time, which is something I have yet to figure out.
I would like to roll an insight check to see which answer. I mean, I suspect that the communion with the weave answer is the better answer. Something that is like, how do I explain this? He will want to know more if we can move time, but which version is more boring to him? I assume it's the weave.
You can roll an insight check, sure.
Yeah. 23.
23. I think you get the sense that he is as interested in either answer.
Oh, damn. Okay. Oh god, I'm gonna try and lie. You may think the angel's weak here. You may think them abominations, as you said. But the angels are linked. I can travel us between them.
His red eyes flash. Give me a deception check.
God damn it. Fuck. The way that I wish I had an inspiration, the way I have -1 in deception because I have no charisma. This is the worst. The worst.
Jan Urban.
9.
Serious.
9. 9.
A 9. All right. Well, he has to roll an inside check of his own.
With the plus 20.
He doesn't have a plus 20.
Yeah. He's like really into my horn, so he's a bit distracted.
Let's see. Can he beat a 9? 13. His eyes flash the redness through this fog. The form that he is taking kind of struggles for a moment to retain shape. It wobbles and grows. You get flashes of light piercing out from him, mostly a sort of sickly green, but there are these kind of flashes of warm yellows and white that come out too. With those flashes of energy, you feel another sense of unwell. Make me another wisdom saving throw.
24.
24 is a save. Roll me 2d6.
Okay. 6.
Okay, you take 3 damage.
Okay.
He says, "You try to deceive me. I understand. You think me a monster. Come to malevolently kill you and this world. But you are not my target. I care not whether you have this ability or not. There is no connection between the angels. There is no power that you speak of. So which is it? The weave or time?"
You aren't a malevolent force come to kill everything.
No.
I'd hope not. You seem intelligent enough.
Flash of red. The weave or time.
Dude, this is the stupidest thing I could possibly do right now. Oh no. This idea won't leave my brain, but I'm like scared it's gonna kill me. I want to see if I can soothe. Not soothe. If I can bear witness to some of his grief.
Okay.
Like,
Ow.
I'm actually gonna roll. Sorry, this is great. I'm gonna roll like a 1d2. 1 is I have the idea and then I'm like definitely too scared to try it. And 2 is I do it recklessly and stupidly. I'm too scared to try it. I have the idea. And I think my heart aches for him. Like, we're in this silence and he just said this thing about you're not my target. And I'm remembering everything that we've learned from the mirror. And I think I look at him in, you know, when you're like talking to someone and then they just like look at you in a way and then they're like, "Are you okay?" And then immediately you like start crying. Like, I think I like look at him with just empathy and like love. And I'd like to think that that white light that sort of represents my soul and represents my magic and everything would be kind of building in my celestial spiritual body at the moment while I do it.
Okay. Roll me a wisdom check.
Okay. 18.
18. And this is just a look, or do you say something to him?
I look at him and I say, "It is the heaviest burden to bear."
His eyes continue to stare at you. And he says, "My world, my sister, my siblings, they will die over and over and over again inside me. Grief is infinite. It doesn't go away. It can destroy you. It can focus you. You look at me with those eyes. Once, long ago, I looked at another creature with the same eyes. I bestowed upon it a soul as it drove a spear through my body. And all I was given was this infinite grief. I am beyond love and grief. I am beyond vengeance. I am simply a force. I am a purpose. And I will never stop. I will ask you one more time how you are moving. And then perhaps, if you are honest, I will not disrespect you or your comrades when I find you. I can promise you only one thing, and that thing is death. But it can be slow, or it can be quick. For you, for your loved ones, and the rest of this world. Time or the weave.
Your grief is infinite because your love was. I wish best for you. I hope more for you. You may think you're a vessel. But nothing is ever truly lost. And then I would like to sever the connection. I would like to attempt to sever the connection.
Okay. You need to make me a wisdom save.
God. 15.
Nothing happens. You feel a tightening of that grip, the manacles, the sensation of being trapped here. The form in front of you begins to shift and change as it does so, the form of your father gives away, the mirroring of your own face gives way, the wings grow again, and that light starts to permeate. That sickening sense of dread grows and grows and grows. You need to make me another wisdom save.
17.
Roll me 2d6.
Nine.
You take 4 damage.
Okay.
He says, "You are not going anywhere. You came to me. I do not know how you are doing it. I do not know which of your party is doing it, but I know where you are. And I can hold you here longer than it takes you to get back. When you return to your body, your comrades, your friends, your world will be ash. I gave you plenty of chances. I showed you respect. And you, like everyone before you, spat at my feet. I am old. I am tired. I have been at this for a very long time. I am sick of this war.
This war? What war?
I am not your enemy. The gods are our enemy.
Then why do you take it out on us? Kill us? Do you have a way to find the gods? Bring it to them? What purpose is it to kill this world and yours? The gods take no notice, evidently. You think they'll take notice? Or will you just be floating in the blackness for an eternity? Nothing left. Razing everything to the ground. No ground to be seen. And you think they'll take notice then? For what? What will they gift you back, Mordriel? Do you think they'll gift you back everything you took? We could stop this now. You could find a way.
To them you are nothing. You have pledged your life in service to gods who would ignore you, as they have ignored us. Their children, the angels, you, I, everyone on my world and yours. Nothing more than toys to petty children. I will smash every toy. If my new form is only suitable for destruction, then I will break everything they created. And when they have nowhere else to look, they will have no choice but to turn and face me. That is the purpose. That is why you will die. And that is why I leave you here to rot. His form moves backwards. It grows as it does so in this fog. The eyes stare at you before kind of dissipating. The green, sickly energy kind of fades, and you're left trapped. Essentially, looking down, you would see shadowy manacles and chain links that reach out into this fog as you remain stuck here. Make me another wisdom save.
11.
Roll 2d6.
6.
Take 6 damage.
Okay.
Jilden and Sia.
Hmm.
What happens here for you as you put your hand to Sirius's shoulder and back, and she places a hand to the ground, her head snaps back and her eyes roll up into her head. There's a sense of a kind of an arcane pulse as she kind of locks into something here. She's doing whatever it is that she intends to do. The plan was simply to just see if Mordriel changes course and comes this way. Sia, maybe you look at the compass.
Yes.
The compass no longer continues to move east as you're looking at it. It actually remains kind of stable. After some time, because you have to watch this thing, Sirius continues to simply be sat there, hands to the ground, eyes rolled up into the back of her head. Behind you, Hard is like messing around. You can hear him kind of humming to himself and poking and prodding at areas of the ground with his staff. In the tower, Thrak lays unconscious, asleep. Sirius does not return to her body. A minute passes, 2, 3. How long do you wait before maybe doing something?
I think after the first minute I would look in a rather concerned manner to Jilden, since this is not what happened last time. Last time it just simply happened. There was no snapback, there was no eyes to the back rolling to the back of the head. I look up at Jilden and I say, what's going on? What do we do?
I do not know. Perhaps to interrupt would put whatever she is doing at risk. But perhaps she is not safe.
Well, this looks like no sleepwalking I've ever seen.
I've never seen anyone do anything like this. Communing with a god of death. Truly. If it wasn't desperation, this would be folly.
How do we make a snap out of this? This does not seem to be conducive to our efforts. It seems as if he stopped moving. At least no longer eastwards, which means he's likely stopped or he is now heading in our direction. Mm-hmm. Which is what we want. What we don't want is this.
We could try pulling her into the tower.
Very well. I look up at Hard. And I say just once, Hard!
His head snaps over to you and he begins to trundle over pretty quickly.
Yes. What?
We have a problem.
A problem?
Let's look at her. Is this normal? It's been like this for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
Do we feel anything through our connection to Sirius?
You can make me wisdom checks with disadvantage. Neither of you are particularly good at this. I'm also going to roll a check for Hard.
9.
9, 5. Hard with a 21 turns and looks at Sirius, and as he's looking over the two of you, you don't get a sense of anything really from Sirius. The sort of the pulse as she locked in felt like you'd sent her, like it would feel like you let a dove go, you know, that's the sensation you get. But beyond that, the connection doesn't seem to be particularly strong. You don't get a sense of anything from her, really. Hard looks her up and down and says,
I suspected as much. We should not be messing with this creature. We are poking a bear of huge arcane power.
Oh, yes. Lectures about humility later. First, how do we fix her? What's wrong with her?
he looks at you and says,
I do not know. But this is not good. Look.
as you look at Sirius's face, there is blood running from one of her nostrils.
Surely we can snap her out of it. Or something. Break her connection. If we put her in the tower and move the tower, perhaps that would break her connection with the earth around her or something. Surely.
Or you trap her outside of her body forever. She would be like a ghost.
Oh, that.
I think
Are you
perhaps,
saying that she's no longer in her body right now? If we move, then her spirit will not be able to find its way back because it's going to come back here and she's not here. Is that what you're saying?
He Rafiki taps the top of her head a couple times with his staff and says,
Yes. She is not in here. She is floating on the astral seas. Look, I have seen many people do this many times. Thors can do this. Astral projection.
And go get him. Go get Thors. Get in the tower and go get him. Bring him back here. Get him to bring an astral boat or something, and we'll go and bring her back.
Okay. I will do it, but it will take some time. That will be 2 trips.
Of course it
You will be here for several hours. If those
will.
creatures come.
No time to himself.
Are you taking Thrak with you?
Perhaps Thrak can do something here. He is able to understand the weave.
Alright. Well, in his state, I hope he's gotten at least a bit of rest to be useful.
I will wake him. We will see if Thrak has anything to add. Otherwise, perhaps we can find Thors. Perhaps she will break her own way out. I suspect that she is trapped. And I suspect it is the work of this creature.
I fear. Perhaps we might have to go in after her. Somehow.
Somehow?
I glance up at Seer. I
I
have
would
any better
advise against
ideas.
it.
Well, I mean, how indeed? I don't suppose you have any mountain powers, do you?
No, but Thors clearly knows how to do whatever it is she did here. Perhaps he can teach us.
I will get Thrak. But again, I think engaging with this creature is a bad idea. Look,
You think leaving her to die, separate from herself, is a better idea?
rather we cut our losses now.
And the whole point of everything you want to achieve here is to stop the death of everything. Seriously, a key to that.
The key is
It's
Thrak.
counterproductive.
It has always been Thrak. Look what he is capable of.
Child. Look what Sirius is capable of. She's clearly connected.
True.
Is Thrak really able to do that? No.
She has figured out how to do this, but like a mouse, she is trapped now. We may not be able to get her back, and if you go in and try and find her as well, we will not get you back.
Very well. I suppose in that case, time is of the essence. We should stop dawdling here. You get Thrak. We stay out here with Cirrus.
Alright. I will get him.
He starts moving up the steps.
I cautioned them.
As he moves away, we see Seer and Jildan standing over the kind of kneeling form of Cirrus with her eyes rolled up into the back of her head, a drop of blood running down past one lip from her nose. Up in the room, Wriggles on the pelt, watching Thrak while he sleeps. That's where we're going to end our session. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week.